Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to the Reformat channel. Thanks for tuning into this one. Now, the video previous to this was a quick display and rundown of the new Dark Avengers post-siege events based off of Michael Bendis' Avengers. You can check that one out if you want. But in this video, we're gonna, as usual, put a Marvel Legends display around it, take a look at the comics, and just check out how Norman Osborn got this team back together. The story starts out Norman Osborn breaking out of jail with the help of some loyalists who were ex-Hammer agents, in combination of other criminal organization groups from Hydra, The Hand, and AIM, who also helped him in his rise to power. And with this, he forms the new Dark Avengers team. But it wasn't really clear in this volume how or when he got his superpowers, but other sources online kind of just state that he became a superhuman adaptoid with the help of AIM. Now for this figure, I used a Kit Bash Matt Murdock body with the unmasked Green Goblin head. It kind of perfectly matches how he looks in the comics. Superior was Norman Osborn's right-hand man throughout the whole story, and the team's Miss Marvel. I used a standard figure for this one, which is the Dark Avengers Warbird. It came out earlier in 2025. It'd be kind of cool if Hasbro does release this actual version. Hint, hint. But yeah, I highly doubt it. In any case, her powers are very similar to Miss Marvel, actually. And she kicks Miss Marvel's ass on their first encounter. This kind of truly shows how powerful she is, if not more. Gorgon was the team's Wolverine and was recruited from the Hand. Now, the recent X-Men 97 brown suit is a stand-in figure for this, but it perfectly matches the suit color from the comics with the light brown. Now, I feel as though they didn't really highlight his powers enough and took him a bit more lightly. He can turn people into stone with his gaze, has telepathy powers, on top of his superhuman strength, speed, intelligence, not to mention his healing factor. And one can even say that he would have been a better Wolverine if he had adamantium claws like Logan. When this figure released, I passed on it because I thought it was just a copy paste of the 80th anniversary Thor. But when Hasbro started to drop more and more of the Dark Avengers figures a few years later, it made more sense. I picked it up, and I had to say the subtle differences really make it its own. So this is Ragnarok, a cyborg clone created by Mr. Fantastic and Iron Man for the purpose of combating Thor-level type enemies. And obviously, that all goes wrong, ends up killing other heroes, and so the project was scrapped, only to be stolen by AIM later on. And of course, Norman Osborn catches wind of this and reprograms it for his own use. Dr. Covington, also known as Toxidoxy, played the Team Scarlet Witch. This is another standing figure, which is the West Coast Avengers Scarlet Witch. And again, hint hint, it'd be cool if Hasbro releases her. But in terms of actual Scarlet Witch, she's nothing like her. She is a true fake. She does nothing that Scarlet Witch does, but instead, she's a doctor that specializes in neurotoxins and physical enhancements that she uses on herself and during battle. But really, it's more of her mental instability that captured Norman's attention and got her a spot on the team. Ayapek, I think that's how you say it, is the most fitting Spider-Man of the team. He literally is a Spider-Man. But yeah, in terms of this figure, I was really happy when Hasbro announced this. And it pretty much what drove me to doing this video. I can't tell you the amount of time that I spent playing this and, making poses with it. It's really fun. But yeah, as I said, he literally is a Spider-Man. He's from the deep forest in Brazil, where he resides. And Osborn recruits him and gives him a serum to make him appear more or less hideous for the public eye. And he's supposed to be some sort of god again in the comics, but that didn't really get highlighted, and got his ass handed to him really easily from the New Avengers. Not a lot of people knew Hulk had a son. This is Scar, and he resides in the Savage Lands. Now, I won't spoil too much as to why or how he got recruited, in case you want to read into the story. But I'm happy that this figure finally has a place, because honestly, I just had it stored up until recently, or until now. But unlike his father, he's more of like a warrior, and is able to control his emotions. And he carries around a big sword and a knife fitting for the Savage Land survival. He was an easy recruit for the team's Hulk position. Last but not least, Barney Barton, aka Trickshot, who was recruited as the team's Hawkeye and is also actually Clint's brother, the actual Hawkeye. Again, it would be awesome if Hasbro released him because his costume is completely different from Hawkeye. But in terms of his skills, he actually equals his brother in shooting a bow, or like shooting, I guess you could say in general. Only difference is that he doesn't care how he takes down his target, which makes him more dangerous. He doesn't get much screen time in the storyline, much like Scarlet Witch and Ragnarok. But he's there. He's a background character. And so that is the new Dark Avengers. Now the story collection wise, I felt they left too many plot holes and didn't make sense in most situations. Unless you actually read the individual comics and follow along the story that way, a lot of it won't make sense. Nonetheless, I'm kind of happy that Hasbro is starting to now release the Dark Avengers team members. Um, and I kind of have them up here with the new Avengers. I don't have the white suit Iron Fist and Spider-Man as they appeared in the comics. And I also kit bashed a Doctor Strange figure uh, just because he's kind of like in plain clothes most of the time because he's no longer the Sorcerer Supreme. But yeah, anyways, I hope that you liked this video and that you found it interesting enough to stay to the very end. Let me know what you think in the comments. If there's something I missed or something you want to see, I'm open to that. But yeah, that's all I got. Take it easy, y'all.